The tally froze at 612 to 0. In the history of the Council, no resolution had ever been more unanimous.
Operation Clean Sweep is authorized. In 3 minutes, Earth will be no more.
The chamber erupted in thunderous applause. A countdown appeared on the central holoscreen. 3 minutes. Only one figure did not react. Admiral William Grayson, Earth's observer, chained and silent. Chains hung loosely from his wrists. His face betrayed nothing. Not fear, not anger, only patience.
Let the record show. The Council has spoken. Humanity's arrogance ends today.
The timer ticked down. 2:47. The vote was sealed. The fleet awaited the command. His fingers drummed a slow rhythm on his thigh. The chains clinked faintly with each breath.
Does the human have nothing to say? No plea for mercy, no defiance.
But William remained still, as if waiting for a moment that only he knew would arrive.
Show them. Let the chamber witness the fate they have earned.
A brilliant golden beam sliced through the holographic Earth. Continents shattered, oceans vaporized into superheated steam. In the simulation, no one screamed.
One clean strike, and the human infestation is scrubbed from the stars.
Some delegates shifted. The avian Seraphina covered her beak with a feathered hand, luminous eyes wide.
He shows no fear, no anger, as if this were a rehearsal.
William's silhouette stood stark against the carnage, his arms still crossed, chains catching the light.
The vote is recorded. Let the execution commence.
The countdown hit 2:15. The chamber's applause had dimmed to a nervous murmur, like a tide retreating.
Why does he not tremble? Does he not understand his world is about to burn?
But William's gaze remained locked on the timer. The whispers around him grew, but he offered nothing. The chains swayed with his steady breathing.
For centuries, your kind has spread like a virus. You adapt, you consume, you refuse to kneel.
The reptilian delegate Varric shifted in his seat, amber scales catching the light. He glanced toward the human.
He does not even blink. What kind of creature faces annihilation without a flinch?
You build weapons from your own corpses. You turn your dead into fuel. This council will not tolerate such barbarism.
William's fingers kept their slow, deliberate rhythm. Tap, 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 as if counting down to something else entirely.
Your silence insults this chamber. Do you not understand the honor of witnessing your own execution?
A muscle twitched near the Admiral's temple. Once, then stillness. The whispers in the chamber grew louder.
He is not ignorant. He is waiting. But for what?
The countdown ticked to 1:37. The speaker's voice rose, filling the chamber with righteous fury. But William's eyes never left the timer. His breath remained deep, even. He was waiting for something, and the speaker had no idea. The timer hit 1 o'clock. Something shifted in the chamber, a stillness that felt heavier than the noise before.
By the authority vested in this council, I seal this vote in blood and light.
The speaker raised a ceremonial knife, its edge glowing with the same cyan fire as his eyes. He slashed downward. Energy tendrils erupted from the blade, snaking toward the tally hologram. The seal hissed shut. A final, irreversible lock engaged. The tally froze, eternal. William's eyes closed. For 3 slow seconds, he seemed somewhere else entirely.
Is he praying or saying goodbye?
When his eyes opened, they were harder, colder. The tapping stopped. 0:45. The chamber waited. Even the speaker fell silent, expecting the human finally to break. But William only inclined his head a fraction, an acknowledgement, not a surrender. And still, he did not speak. The countdown slid under 0:30. A red pulse bathed the chamber with each numeral change at 0:15. An almost physical silence pressed down. Delegates stopped breathing. William's head lifted a fraction. It was the first voluntary movement he had made since the tally froze. Speaker. Rylak noticed. His cyan eyes narrowed, a flicker of unease cutting through the triumph. 0:10. The emergency chime sounded once, then silence.
Earth voted last week.
The countdown froze at 0:08. An automatic safety protocol, undated, unexpected, triggered by the first human voice. The chamber sucked in a collective breath. 612 delegates forgot to exhale.
What did you say?
William's chains clinked as he straightened. For the first time, he looked like a man who had the floor, not a prisoner.
A phantom vote. A symbolic gesture from a dead world. Is this your species' idea of a joke?
His laugh rang through the chamber, but it was hollow, strained. A few delegates shifted in their seats.
The result was identical, and you lost.
Identical. The human is claiming a countervote? That's absurd. But he seems so certain.
The words hung in the air. The chamber's confusion was palpable, a low murmur rising.
Lost? The vote was unanimous. This council stands united.
But his voice had lost its edge. The silence that followed was not respectful. It was calculating.
You misunderstand. Earth voted, and every one of your homeworlds voted too.
Impossible. Our communications are sealed. You have no access to homeworld channels.
William simply smiled. It was not a friendly smile. The speaker's hands began to tremble.
No access? Then explain this.
He produced a slim data slate, its surface alive with shifting encryption patterns, council ciphers unmistakable to every delegate.
That cipher. That's our encryption. How did you get that?
The data slate was marked with the council's own seal, a verification pattern only the speaker could authenticate.
Internal vote tallies from every council homeworld, transmitted with your own security protocols.
You expect us to believe you breached our core systems.
Murmurs erupted. Delegates leaned forward, some rising from their seats, demanding to see the slate's contents.
If that thing is genuine, then this council has been lying to us from the start.
Open it. See for yourself what your own people decided.
The speaker held the data slate as if it were a live grenade. The chamber's silence deepened, a precipice. With a trembling claw, the speaker activated the decryption sequence. The data slate pulsed once, then surrendered its secrets. Lines of data scrolled, world after world, vote after vote, each entry sealed with the council's own cryptographic signature.
Kalor. 94% opposed.
Thriss, 97. The avian flocks had voted almost unanimously for peace. The numbers were damning.
This is a fabrication. Earth has poisoned your networks.
But the authentication seals glowed at the bottom of every page, the speaker's own signature algorithm. A gasp rolled through the chamber. 612 delegates reached for their own consoles, fingers trembling. Priority alerts flooded in simultaneously. Homeworld after homeworld confirmed the tallies. There was no glitch, no trick. The speaker's hands, once steady, now shook uncontrollably. The data slate clattered against the podium. His cyan eyes, once alight with power, reflected only the cold truth. His council had never spoken for anyone.
A priority recall. My government has endorsed Earth and demands my immediate withdrawal.
Simultaneously, dozens of data slates flared to life across the chamber. Every species seal, every urgent header.
My world has spoken. They have recalled me. Effective. Immediately.
The momentum is shifting. Earth's diplomacy has reached everywhere.
This is a coordinated cyber attack. Earth is manipulating your communications.
But a Kalor delegate held up his data slate. The seal of Kalor's Senate glowed undeniably on the screen.
No, Speaker. This is our people speaking. And they have chosen Earth.
More delegates rose, their data slates alive with identical directives. The chamber dissolved into a cacophony of denial and realization.
You are all traitors to the Council's will.
But the word traitor had lost its meaning. The only authority now was the will streaming in from 100 worlds. Delegate Seraphina of Thriss rose. The rustle of her iridescent feathers sliced through the chaos like a blade.
On behalf of the Thrissian Commonwealth, we formally secede from this council.
She tapped her wrist console. A formal secession notice blazed across the central holo display.
We recognize Earth as a sovereign trade partner, and we recall our delegation immediately.
You cannot do this. I order you to retract that statement.
Your authority ended the moment our people voted, Speaker. You command nothing now.
The speaker's claws dug into the podium. Metal groaned, His cyan eyes burned with impotent rage before the speaker could spit another command. Delegate Varric of Kalor rose to his full height.
You dare follow this feathered rebel. She will lead your species to ruin.
But Seraphina's luminous eyes never flickered. Her wings half opened, a gesture of absolute finality.
Kalor secedes from this council, effective immediately. Our future lies with Earth.
The central tally board flickered. The solid 612 to 0 shattered into a cascade of withdrawal icons.
I will not permit this. Lock the tally board. Override all displays.
No one obeyed. The withdrawal symbols multiplied, each one dimming a section of the chamber's light. The speaker's claws raked his console, leaving scratches. His commands were met with static. The tally board continued to fracture, each fissure a species that had walked away. The 612 was now a memory.
You are all traitors. This chamber is not concluded. We are not finished.
His voice echoed, hollow. The chamber's attention had shifted to the data slates, to the exits, to the future. Admiral William had not moved. His chains hung slack, his expression one of a man who had already won. The tally board continued its silent collapse, a count not of opposition, but of dissolution. The council existed only on paper. With a roar, the speaker slammed his palm onto the main communication console. A red channel opened, crackling with anticipation.
Fleet Command. This is Speaker Rylak. Execute Operation Clean Sweep immediately. Authorization Crimson 9.
The response was not a voice. It was a wall of static, hissing and empty, as though the stars themselves had gone mute. He pressed again, claws punching the controls. A second channel, a third, each open to the same static void. The central holo display flickered, projecting the fleet's status in broken glyphs. Relays offline, countermeasures active. Undeniable truth. Earth's cyber warfare had already swallowed the Council's military. The guns were silent.
They've taken the fleet without a single shot. Full counter-offensive. All vessels. Engage emergency protocols.
The static answered him. 612 delegates watched his authority dissolve into the dead air. The speaker's hands fell to his sides. The Cleansweep fleet had become a ghost armada, controlled by Earth. William leaned forward in the observation ring. The chains clicked softly. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of an inevitable tide.
Your fleet has stood down. Your generals received the same vote results hours ago.
He nodded at the holo display. A new image bloomed. Earth's jamming web. Counter-cyber glyphs over every council military node. A hush fell. Seraphina's wings twitched. Varric's amber scales bristled. The truth was inescapable. Speaker. Rylak stumbled back, eyes scanning the hologram with frantic denial.
You thought you'd erase us, but your people voted first, and yours lost.
You cannot have broken a fleet that hasn't fallen in 1,000 cycles. This is a lie.
The glyphs proved otherwise. Fleet icons shifted to Earth's insignia, one by one. No shots fired. The speaker sagged against the podium. The ceremonial knife clattered to the floor. His authority was a memory. Around him, the chamber buzzed not with defiance, but with the urgent conversations of a new order.
You knew the will of every world, and you hid it behind this chamber's seals.
Varric's claw trembled, not with fear, but with the fury of a creature who had been made a pawn.
Never again will Kalor bend to a speaker who lies to his own council.
I move that this council recognize Earth as a sovereign partner, and all standing hostile orders be nullified.
You have no authority to nullify the Council's seal.
But Seraphina's motion was already seconded by a dozen worlds. The tally board registered the shift in real time. One by one, the remaining delegates turned their backs on the podium. The circle of rejection widened. The speaker was left facing a wall of silence, his console dead, his vote useless.
The motion passes. Earth is recognized.
Admiral William inclined his head, the faintest nod of acknowledgement. The council was not dissolved, yet, but it was no longer in control. The speaker's voice shattered. He slammed a final override code and screamed.
By martial authority, I order the arrest of these traitors. Security, clear the chamber.
The main doors groaned open. Council security, a mixed phalanx of species, filed in with heavy steps, but their weapons stayed low. Their postures were not aggressive. They scanned the room, then looked to the speaker, and did not move toward the delegates. The chief, a hulking insectoid, stepped forward. His mandibles clicked once, a sound of negation. He did not raise his weapon. Instead, he turned his back on the podium and faced the speaker.
What are you doing? I gave you an order.
The chief's only response was to raise a single claw and point back at the speaker, a gesture of condemnation. One by one, the security officers joined the ring of rejection. The speaker was enclosed by silence and lowered rifles. The throne behind the speaker caught the dimming light. It was no longer a seat of power, but an empty shell. The central hollow display flickered, resolving into a human diplomat. Earth's seal shimmered. Earth extends an invitation. Join a new alliance of free worlds, founded on your people's will. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Delegates leaned forward, listening.
Speaker Rylak told us this would never happen, yet here we are.
Secondary displays lit with a proposed charter. Mutual defense, open trade, sovereignty recognition. Homeworld seals began to appear.
Kalar will sign. Our people have spoken. It is time to honor their voice.
Delegates stood, a wave of feathered, scaled, and armored forms. Alliance registration blazed on the main viewer. William watched, chains loose. He gave a single nod. Acknowledgement, not triumph. The chamber had been a courtroom for execution. Now it was a foundation ceremony, and still, the Admiral did not rise. His moment was close, but not yet. The Admiral rose. Not hurried, not hesitant, like a man shedding a weight that was never truly there. The chains, which had hung as symbols of captivity, dropped. They clattered to the deck and lay still. No lock had ever been engaged. The shackles were a stage prop, and the performance was over.
This council existed only on paper from the moment your people spoke. We never came as prisoners.
He stepped out of the observation ring, crossing the invisible threshold that had separated audience from actor. Speaker Rylak stumbled back, his throne suddenly a cage. The cyan light in his eyes guttered.
We didn't come to declare war. We came to ratify what your own people already chose.
The fallen chains glinted under the emergency lights, a confession that the council's authority had always been hollow. William stood unbowed, a free man in a chamber that had tried to sentence him. The silence was absolute. And then, as if responding to his words, the chamber lights began to dim, one sector at a time. Speaker Rylak's hands flew to his chest, as if to keep his heart from bursting. The darkness encroached. He sank into the throne, legs buckling, the ceremonial robes crumpled around him like a defeated banner.
The lights. They're leaving, just like the worlds. One by one.
Each dimming sector was a nation that had already departed. The darkness spread like a quiet judgment. Admiral William stood in the center, unchained and unbowed, a silent sentinel of the new order. No shots had been fired. No blood had been spilled. The council's end came not with fire, but with the whispered will of 100 worlds. The last thing Speaker Rylak saw before the darkness swallowed him was the Admiral's calm, unwavering gaze.
What have you done?
But the question had already been answered. Earth had done nothing, except listen. The central dais flickered, then went dark. The speaker's throne was now just a chair in a room full of ghosts. The frozen tally of 612 to 0 flickered, then dissolved. In its place, 3 words blazed, council dissolved, at the head of the exodus. Seraphina spread her wings slightly, a gesture of liberation, not flight.
It is done. The cage has unlocked itself without blood, without war.
The last of the delegates filed out, a silent procession of scaled, feathered, and armored figures. On the main display, Earth's insignia ascended, a new star among old constellations. William gave a slow nod to the departing delegates, not a salute, but a shared acknowledgement. The speaker's throne sat empty, a monument to a voice that had been silenced by its own people. The chamber's last breath was the sound of the great doors sealing, leaving only ghosts and scattered chains. The tally board stood as the sole witness. Council dissolved. The war had ended before it began, not with fire and fury, but with the quiet, unassailable truth of a people's will. The grand atrium lay silent, its once bright council seals now dimmed to faint scars on the walls. Through the main viewport, a human transport vessel hung against the starfield, running lights steady and welcoming. Behind them, the council chamber was a vault of shadows, the observation ring empty, chains glinting in a single fading spotlight. The chains lay where they had fallen, a testament to a captivity that was never real.
The hard part begins now. Trust is slower to build than tyranny is to tear down.
Trust is not built with fleets, Admiral. It is built with truth. Today, we gave them that.
They walked toward the docking bay, the human ship now blotting out the stars as it prepared to receive them.
Earth would not celebrate this. Too many had seen the abyss, but the abyss had blinked first.
As the transport's engines warmed the cold vacuum, the council's former seat became just another abandoned station among the stars. The stars looked on, indifferent, as a quiet revolution finished what a war could not. Aboard a human orbital station, Admiral William Grayson stood alone before a sweeping viewport. Below him, the blue marble of Earth turned slowly, the fires of its cities softer than any wartime display. His reflection in the transparent alloy was that of an old soldier, silver crew cut, deep lines, but untroubled.
It never happened. Operation Clean Sweep, the death of a world, all of it stayed by a simple act of listening.
The weight he had carried for decades, the contingency plans, the sleepless nights, settled at last. His shoulders, which had been squared for 1,000 briefings, eased. A long, slow breath escaped. Then, the corner of his mouth lifted. Not a grin of victory, but the tired acknowledgement of a job finished. The sun broke over the Pacific, flooding the viewport with gold. Earth, whole and turning, needed no fleet to defend it today. He had walked into the council chamber as a chained observer. He walked out as a free man, and the stars had listened. And for the first time in a century, humanity's future was not written in fire, but in the quiet ink of diplomacy. The camera lingered on William's silhouette, then pulled back through the glass into the silence of orbit. Earth hung in the black, a blue and white marble. Its defensive grid shimmered like a net of diamonds. The grid caught the sun's first rays, a silent constellation guarding a world no longer in peril. No countdowns, no war horns, only the quiet machinery of a living world, turning slowly toward the light. The Admiral's reflection faded from the viewport, becoming one with the darkness. His watch ended. A single starfighter crossed the limb of the planet, contrail thin and silver, a quiet sentinel. It flew without intercept, without alert. The skies were clear, the treaties signed. The camera drifted out toward the infinite, leaving the blue jewel behind, a fragile, unburned world. The sun rose fully, spilling gold across the oceans. A new day, a new dawn, and the last image was that of a planet that had refused to burn, and a people who had learned to listen.